My name is Diane Marshall. I'm 58 years old, and I've been living in the same 3-bedroom house in Southside Chicago for the past 32 years. It's not fancy. The carpet's a little worn, the kitchen appliances are from the 90s, and my couch has that one cushion that sinks a little lower than the others. But it's mine. I raised 3 kids here. I paid off the mortgage 5 years ago, and I've never once felt like I needed to apologize for any of it. Until my niece Kennedy moved in. Kennedy is my sister Vanessa's daughter, 27 years old, fresh out of Northwestern with an MBA, and convinced that she has all the answers to life's problems, including problems I didn't know I had. She got a job at a consulting firm downtown, making more money than I've ever seen in my life. And while she was looking for her own place, Vanessa asked if Kennedy could stay with me for just a few weeks. That was 3 months ago. I love my niece. I do. She's smart, ambitious, beautiful. But Lord have mercy, that girl walked into my house like she was Hillary Banks and I was living in a sitcom that needed her expertise to get canceled. The first week was fine. Kennedy kept to herself mostly, working long hours. Coming home late, she'd eat dinner in her room, my old sewing room, that I'd converted into a guest room, and we'd exchange pleasantries in the morning. No problems. Week 2 is when things started to change. I was making breakfast one Saturday morning, grits, eggs, bacon, toast, the works. Kennedy came downstairs in her silk pajama set that probably cost more than my monthly utility bill, looked at the spread and said, "Auntie Diane, do you know how much sodium is in bacon?" I looked at her over my reading glasses. "Enough to make it taste good. I'm serious. And white bread? Auntie, processed carbs are terrible for you. Have you ever considered switching to whole grain? Have you ever considered minding your business this early in the morning?" She laughed like I was joking. "I'm just looking out for you. At your age, you really need to be more conscious about what you're putting in your body." At my age. Child, I'm 58, not 88, but I let it slide. She meant well. Or so I thought. That afternoon, I was watching my show's The Golden Girls reruns, because they never get old, when Kennedy came into the living room with her laptop. "Auntie, I've been thinking about your living room layout. My living room layout is fine, but it's not optimized for the space. If you moved the couch over there and got rid of that china cabinet belonged to your grandmother. I know, but it's taking up so much visual real estate. And these curtains, Auntie, when's the last time you updated your window treatments?" Window treatments? Kennedy, they're curtains, and they work just fine. But think about how much natural light you could have with some sheer panels, and maybe a statement rug to tie the room together. Oh, and you should definitely get rid of that TV stand. Wall-mounted is so much cleaner. I turned off the TV. "Kennedy, baby, I appreciate your interior design aspirations, but this is my house. I like it the way it is." "I know you do," she said in that tone, that smooth, patronizing tone that made it clear she thought I only liked it because I didn't know any better. "But Auntie, you've been living the same way for so long. Sometimes we get stuck in our comfort zones and don't realize there are better options." Better options. Like my 32 years in this house were some kind of mistake I'd been too ignorant to notice. "Kennedy, I'm going back to my shows now." "Okay, but just think about what I said. I could help you update things, make this place really shine." She went back upstairs, and I sat there feeling something I hadn't felt in my own home in 3 decades. Uncomfortable. Week 3 brought the wardrobe intervention. I was getting ready for church, putting on my favorite purple dress suit, the one I've been wearing to Sunday service for the past 5 years, when Kennedy knocked on my door. "Auntie, you're wearing that?" "Yes, I'm wearing this." "Why?" "It's just very 2015. "Kennedy, it's church, not a fashion show." "I know, but Auntie, you're such a beautiful woman. You could do so much more with your style. Have you ever thought about updating your wardrobe? I could take you shopping. There's this amazing boutique downtown. That I can't afford. Well, there are other options too. I could help you put together a capsule wardrobe, very minimalist, very chic. I have a wardrobe, it's called my closet, and everything in it works just fine. She gave me that smile. That patient? I'm dealing with someone who doesn't understand smile. I'm just trying to help you look your best. Baby, I always look my best, because my best is showing up as myself, not as some magazine version of what you think I should be. I went to church in my purple suit, and when Sister Marlene complimented me on it, I made sure to say it loud enough for Kennedy to hear when she picked me up. Thank you. I've had this for 5 years, and it still makes me feel like $1,000,000. But Kennedy wasn't done. Week 4 brought the career intervention. I work at the Southside Community Center. I've been the administrative director there for 15 years. I coordinate programs, manage volunteers, handle the budget, work with local schools and organizations. It's not glamorous. It doesn't pay 6 figures, but it matters. I see kids come through our doors who need a safe place, who need homework help, who need someone to believe in them. I make sure they get it. Kennedy found out how much I make. Auntie Diane, you make how much? Enough to pay my bills and save a little. But you've been there for 15 years. You should be making at least double that. Have you ever asked for a raise? It's a nonprofit, Kennedy. Money's tight. That's not an excuse. You have an MBA equivalent in life experience. You're basically running that place. You should be compensated accordingly. I am compensated. With the knowledge that I'm helping my community. She looked at me like I'd just said I wanted to work for free. Auntie, that's noble and everything, but you can't pay bills with good intentions. You need to value yourself more. You need to demand what you're worth. I know what I'm worth, Kennedy, and it's not measured in a salary. But it could be. You know what? I'm going to help you update your resume. We'll get you on LinkedIn, optimize your profile, maybe look at some corporate positions that would pay you what you actually deserve. Kennedy, I don't want a corporate position. You say that now, but you haven't explored your options. You've been in the same job, in the same house, wearing the same clothes, eating the same food. Auntie, don't you want more? And there it was. The question that had been building since she moved in. Don't you want more? Like everything I had wasn't enough. Like everything I'd built wasn't valuable because it didn't look like her life, her choices, her definition of success. I took a deep breath. Kennedy, let me tell you something. I have everything I want. I have a home that's paid for, a job that feeds my soul, a closet full of clothes that make me happy, food that tastes good and fills me up, friends who love me, a family most of whom respect my choices. I don't need more. I need what I have to be respected. I'm not disrespecting you. Yes, you are. Every time you suggest I change something about my life, you're saying what I have isn't good enough. Every time you call my home outdated or my job underpaid or my style old-fashioned, you're telling me I'm living wrong. And Kennedy, baby, I'm not living wrong. I'm just not living like you. She looked genuinely surprised, like it had never occurred to her that her help was actually criticism. Auntie, I know you didn't mean it, but that doesn't change the impact. You came into my home, and instead of appreciating it, you started trying to fix it, fix me. And I don't need fixing. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, but don't you want to reach your full potential? Who says I haven't? That question hung in the air between us like a challenge, because that was the core assumption Kennedy had been operating under since she moved in, that I was somehow incomplete, that my life was a rough draft waiting for her to edit it into something better. I need you to understand something, I said, sitting down at the kitchen table and gesturing for her to join me. Your life is not the only valid way to live. Your choices are not superior to mine just because they're different. You went to Northwestern, got your MBA, took a corporate job making 6 figures. That's amazing. I'm proud of you. But I chose a different path. I chose community over corporate. I chose stability over status. I chose what makes me happy over what looks impressive. And those choices are just as valid as yours. I know that, she said, but her voice was uncertain. Do you? Because every time you've suggested I upgrade my life, you've implied that how I'm living is somehow less than. And Kennedy, I need you to hear me when I tell you, your Auntie Diane is living her best life. Not a perfect life. Not a life that would impress your colleagues or make a good Instagram post, but the life I want, the life I chose, the life I've earned. Tears welled up in her eyes. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I know, baby. You were trying to help, but sometimes help that isn't asked for is just judgment in disguise. She wiped her eyes. I think maybe I've been projecting. Projecting what? My own insecurities. I got this big fancy degree and this high-paying job, and I thought that would make me happy. But I work 80 hours a week. I barely sleep. I can't afford the luxury apartment I want because I'm paying off student loans. I buy expensive clothes I never have time to wear. And when I come here and see you actually happy, actually content, it makes me question everything I've been chasing. There it was. The truth under all the helpful suggestions. So instead of questioning your own choices, you tried to change mine to match yours, I said gently. Yeah, she admitted. If I could convince you that my way was better, then maybe I could convince myself. I reached across the table and took her hand. Kennedy, your way isn't better or worse than mine. It's just different. And if you're not happy, you're allowed to make different choices. You're 27. You have time to figure out what actually fulfills you. But I worked so hard for this. That's the sunk cost fallacy talking. Just because you invested time and money into something doesn't mean you have to keep doing it if it's not serving you. She laughed through her tears. That's literally what I learned in business school. Baby, I've been applying business principles to life for longer than you've been alive. I just don't have an MBA to prove it. We sat there for a while, just holding hands across my old kitchen table, the one Kennedy had probably mentally replaced with something from West Elm. Auntie Diane? Yes? I'm sorry. For everything. For making you feel like your life wasn't good enough. For trying to change you instead of learning from you. Apology accepted. Now, are you ready to learn something? What? How to be happy with what you have instead of always chasing what you think you should want. She smiled. That sounds like a class I need to take. Lucky for you, it's free. And the only textbook is Living Intentionally. The next few weeks were different. Kennedy stopped suggesting changes to my house. She stopped criticizing my clothes or my food or my job. Instead, she started asking questions. Auntie, why do you love working at the community center? How did you decide what was important to you? Do you ever regret not chasing more money? And I answered honestly. I told her about the kids whose lives I'd seen change because they had a safe space. About the satisfaction of paying off my mortgage and knowing this house was truly mine. About the joy of wearing clothes that made me feel like myself instead of trying to fit someone else's image. But don't you ever want to travel? She asked one evening. Or buy nice things? Or experience luxury? I do travel. I went to Jamaica 2 years ago with my church group. I'm going to New Orleans next month for a conference. And I buy nice things, things that are nice to me, not things that are expensive for the sake of being expensive. And luxury? Baby. Luxury is coming home to a space that feels like me. Luxury is doing work that matters. Luxury is Sunday dinners with family and Friday night card games with friends. That's my luxury. She was quiet for a moment. Then, I don't have any of that. You could. How? By figuring out what you actually want instead of what you think you should want. By building a life that serves you instead of serving your resume. That's scary. It is. But you know what's scarier? Waking up at 45 and realizing you spent 20 years chasing someone else's definition of success. A week later, Kennedy came home early from work, which never happened. She found me in the kitchen making my Saturday night comfort food, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, fried chicken. That smells amazing, she said. You want some? Can I help make it? I looked at her, surprised. In 3 months, Kennedy had never offered to help cook. She'd barely eaten my food. You want to learn? Yeah. I realized something. I've been living on takeout and meal prep services for 2 years. I don't even know how to make the foods I grew up eating. The foods that make me think of home. Well, come on then. Wash your hands and grab that apron. We spent the next 2 hours cooking together. I taught her how to season the greens properly, how to make mac and cheese from scratch, how to know when the chicken is perfectly fried. This is harder than I thought, she said, wiping her forehead. Most worthwhile things are. But it's also fun. Like I'm actually enjoying this. That's because you're creating something with your hands. That satisfaction doesn't come from buying pre-made or ordering in. It comes from the process. When we sat down to eat, Kennedy took her first bite and closed her eyes. This tastes like Grandma's house. That's because these are Grandma's recipes, passed down, practiced, perfected. This is what tradition tastes like. I've been missing this, she said softly. I've been so busy trying to be sophisticated and cultured and different from where I came from that I forgot what I actually love. You don't have to choose between honoring where you came from and becoming who you want to be. You can do both. How? By understanding that growth doesn't mean rejection. You can have your MBA and your corporate job and your ambitions. You can also have Sunday dinners and family recipes and community. They're not mutually exclusive unless you make them that way. She nodded, taking another bite. Auntie Diane? Yeah, baby. Can I stay a little longer? Not because I need a place to live, but because I think I need to learn how to live. I smiled. You can stay as long as you need. But Kennedy? Yes? You're sleeping on the guest room bed I picked out. We're not redecorating. She laughed a real, full laugh. Deal. The next month brought subtle changes. Kennedy started coming home earlier. She started actually talking to me instead of working through dinner in her room. She asked me to teach her how to make more family recipes. She started attending community events with me at the center. One Saturday, she came with me to our youth mentorship program. I introduced her to the kids, and she led a session on career planning and goal setting. Afterwards, one of the girls, a high school junior named Destiny, came up to her. Miss Kennedy, you got your MBA from Northwestern? I did. And you work downtown at a big company? Yes. Do you like it? Kennedy looked at me, then back at Destiny. Honestly, I'm figuring that out. I like parts of it, but I'm learning that there's more to a good life than an impressive job. Like what? Like doing work that matters to you. Like having time for people you love. Like knowing who you are beyond your job title. Destiny nodded thoughtfully. My guidance counselor says I should go to the best college I can get into and study something that makes money. That's not bad advice, Kennedy said. But I'd add something to it. Study something that makes money and makes you happy. Go to the best college you can get into. And make sure it's preparing you for a life you actually want to live. How do I know what I want? That's the hard part, Kennedy admitted. I'm 27 and I'm still figuring it out. But I think step 1 is being honest with yourself about what actually makes you happy, not what you think should make you happy. After the session, as we were walking to my car, Kennedy said, I think I finally understand what you do. What do I do? You give people permission to want what they want, Not what they think they should want, what they actually want. And what do you actually want, Kennedy? She was quiet for a long moment. I want to stop working 80 hours a week. I want to have time to cook dinner. I want to know my neighbors. I want work that pays my bills, but doesn't consume my life. I want. She paused. I want what you have, Auntie. Balance, contentment, purpose without pressure. Those are good wants. What are you going to do about them? I don't know yet, but for the first time, I'm admitting they exist. That's a start, right? That's a great start. 2 weeks later, Kennedy sat me down for a conversation. Auntie Diane, I need to tell you something. Okay, I'm quitting my job. I raised my eyebrows. That's a big decision. I know, but I've been thinking about what you said about building a life that serves me instead of serving my resume. And this job, it's impressive. It pays well, but it's killing me. I have no life. I'm constantly stressed. I can't remember the last time I felt excited about going to work. So what are you going to do? I got offered a position at a smaller consulting firm. It pays less, significantly less, but it's 40 hours a week with actual work-life balance. And they focus on non-profit consulting, which means I'd be using my business skills to help organizations like your community center. Kennedy, that sounds amazing. Really? You don't think I'm throwing away my degree? Baby, your degree is a tool. Tools can be used in lots of different ways. Using it to help nonprofits is just as valuable as using it to make corporations more profitable. More valuable, in my opinion, but I'm biased. She laughed. I'm scared. Of what? That I'm making a mistake. That people will think I'm failing. That I'm giving up. Let me ask you something. Whose opinion matters more? The people who will judge you, or the you who has to live with your choices? The me who has to live with my choices. Then choose wisely. Choose what serves your life, not your ego. She took the new job, and I helped her move into her own apartment, a modest one-bedroom in a neighborhood she actually liked, not the luxury high-rise she'd been saving for. This is perfect, she said as we unpacked boxes. It's smaller than what you wanted. No, it's exactly what I need. The other place was what I thought I should want. We furnished it together some new pieces, some hand-me-downs from my house, including that china cabinet she'd wanted me to get rid of, some thrift store finds. It looked nothing like a Pinterest board. It looked like Kennedy. Auntie Diane, thank you. For what? For not letting me change you. For showing me that there are different ways to live well. For teaching me that success isn't one size fits all. You taught me something too. What? That sometimes the next generation needs to see us living confidently in our choices before they can find their own. You needed to see that I was genuinely happy with my life, not just settling, before you could give yourself permission to want something different than what you thought you should want. She hugged me tight. I love you, Auntie. I love you too, baby. Even when you tried to redesign my living room, she laughed. I'm so sorry about that. You should be. That couch is staying exactly where it is. 6 months later, Kennedy invited me to dinner at her place. She cooked from scratch using the recipes I taught her. This is good, I said, genuinely impressed. I've been practicing. I cook at home 3 times a week now. How's the new job? I love it. I'm helping a youth organization restructure their operations. It's challenging, but it feels meaningful. And I leave at 5:30 every day. I have a life outside of work. That's wonderful. And I met someone. Oh, really? His name is Marcus. He's a teacher. Makes way less money than my ex-boyfriend who was in finance. But he's kind and funny, and we actually have time to date because neither of us works 90 hours a week. Sounds like you made some good choices. I learned from the best. She raised her glass. To Auntie Diane, who taught me that the best life is the one you choose on purpose, not the one you chase because it looks good on paper. I clinked my glass against hers. To figuring out what you actually want and having the courage to build it. That night, as I drove home to my worn carpet and my 90s appliances and my couch with the saggy cushion, I felt something I always felt. But Kennedy's arrival had temporarily shaken, completely content with exactly where I was. My life didn't need upgrading. It needed protecting. It needed honoring. It needed to be seen for what it was, not a rough draft waiting for edits, but a complete story worth celebrating. And Kennedy? She finally stopped trying to edit other people's stories and started writing her own. Sometimes the best way to help someone isn't to change them. It's to show them that their choices are valid, their path is worthwhile, and their version of success is enough. That's what Uncle Phil taught Will. Not by making Will into something he wasn't, but by showing Will how to be the best version of who he already was. And that's what I taught Kennedy. Not by letting her upgrade my life, but by showing her that my life didn't need upgrading, it needed respect. She learned. And in learning, she found what she was actually looking for all along. Permission to want what she wanted, not what she thought she should want. That's the lesson. That's the moral. That's the story. And unlike Kennedy's first assessment of my house, it doesn't need any improvements. It's perfect just the way it is. Like this video if it touched something in you. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories about what it means to be human, to be family, and to choose love, even when it's complicated. I'll see you next time.